You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
It's Oh Behave with Arden Moore, the show that teaches you how to have harmony in the household with your pets. Join Arden as she travels coast to coast to help millions better understand why cats and dogs do what they do. Get the latest scoop on famous faces, their perfectly pampered pets, and who's walking who in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails. Garner great pet tips and have a doggone fur-flying fun time. So get ready for the pause and applause as we unleash your Oh Behave host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome to the Oh Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Now, as the saying goes, smile, and the world smiles with you. Hey, but act grumpy, and they just might make a movie starring you. Just ask the Grump Masters of Hollywood. Now, in the old time, there was the Odd Couple's Oscar Madison, and of course, the classic Dr. Seuss' The Grinch. But on today's show, we have the queen of mastering the puss face. And yes, she is about to star in a new movie. And like any diva of merit, she has a spokesperson handling all her media interviews. Here on today's show is the one and only, the internet sensation. We're talking about, give it up, big paws up for Grumpy Cat. She's starring in a new movie. It's premiering November 29th on Lifetime. It's aptly called Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever. And here to do her talking on today's show are, first up, her pet person, Tabatha Bundesen, and then the show's producer will come on later on, Jeff Morris. So, first up behind the mic is Tabby. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having us.
All right, is Grumpy in the house nearby you?
Yes, she sure is.
Yeah. Is she smiling even a little bit? If I can get a little smile out of Grumpy today, that'll make my day.
I don't think her mouth works that way.
I know. We're going to find out more about that. And we're going to also find out, what is it like to live with Grumpy Cat? What's her real name? And has being such a household name finally put a smile, even a little one, on her adorable face? We're going to find out the answers to these questions and more right after we pay for the show by taking a commercial break. So sit and purr and groom. We'll be right back.
Time for a pause. 4 furry ones, actually. Sit and stay. Oh Behave will be right back.
Pet Life Radio, the #1 pet radio network on the planet, joins forces with iHeartRadio to put the power of your pets in your pocket. Awesome. Download the iHeartRadio app and rock Pet Life Radio on your phone, on your tablet, on your Xbox, in your car. Pet talk, pet tunes, and fun pet times. Pet Life Radio and iHeartRadio. Positively Possum.
Let's talk pets on PetLifeRadio.com. Oh Behave is back with more tail-wagging ways to achieve harmony in the household with your pets. Now, back to your fetching host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome back to the Oh Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. We have on our show today arguably the most coolest cat on the planet. Now, head to the litter box, Cat in the Hat and Garfield, because Grumpy Cat is in the house. Grumpy Cat first made headlines back in 2012, and now meows nearly 7 million loyal Facebook followers. You have seen Grumpy Cat on countless A-list talk shows. Grumpy Cat's been the subject of best-selling books, serves as the Friskies' official spokescat, and let's have a little drum roll, is now starring in a movie premiering November 29th on Lifetime. The movie is appropriately called, I love this title, Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever. And here to tell her tale is her pet guardian, Tabatha Bundesen. Tabatha, what a cat you have.
I guess so. She's a special one.
We need to go back in time. Let's go in a time capsule to 2012. How did you get Grumpy Cat? And I guess she has a brother named Pokey.
Yes, Grumpy Cat was born at my house. My daughter actually brought home her mother. Pokey's about 1.5 years older than Grumpy.
Okay.
And Crystal, my daughter, knew she was special since she was born. She loved her since she was born. She carried her around on a pillow and a basket. She just loved that cat. And taking us quite a ways now.
her real name, you can tell it because it's on all over the internet, but what is Grumpy Cat's real name and how did she get that name?
Her name's Tartar Sauce, and at the time I was working at Red Lobster, so the seafood restaurant, and my daughter had just tried fried fish with tartar sauce. And she was the lightest, light-looking cat that was born out of the litter, so she's like, Mom, this one looks like tartar sauce.
Well, I'm glad you weren't eating bologna or pickle loaf or something. At least you got a fun name, right?
Yeah, we have a soy sauce and a ketchup, too.
You do. Of course you do. But, when you look at her face, describe her because she does have the blue eyes that even the great Paul Newman would envy. But it's all about the puss face, isn't it? So, sadly, there's a reason medically for it, but let's talk a little bit about her face.
Grumpy Cat has feline dwarfism, so she's not bred to be small. It's a genetic. And she's actually not grumpy. It's just a reputation. She still doesn't like to smile, though. But honestly, she's the most docile, sweet cat I've ever had.
Aw, that's great. And what about Pokey? What's Pokey like?
Pokey is awesome. He's not quite as sweet. He's more the grumpy one, so they're kind of playing each other's roles, I guess. He's a lot more active. He scratches me a whole lot more than Grumpy does.
Uh-oh.
but maybe it's because I don't take him on trips with me. Maybe he's just mad.
Yeah, feline jealousy can rear its ugly paw once in a while, too. But I guess it was after you got Grumpy Cat, or let's call her Tartar Sauce, her real name, your brother posted something about her. So kind of bring us back on that one. What was going on? Your brother's name, is it Brandon?
My brother Brian was visiting for 7 days from Ohio.
Okay.
And he posted a picture to Reddit, and the next morning he's like, oh my gosh, this has, over 20,000 upvotes. And everyone was saying he was photoshopped, so he put a video on YouTube. And that's what really went viral. Within 36 hours, we had 1 million views. And before he even left from his short stay, we had been invited to our local news station.
Well, what do you do for a living, if I may ask, Tabatha? What did you do at the time before you became Grumpy Cat's, handler, if you will?
I was waitressing.
Oh,
I was waitressing at Red Lobster. I was working 9 shifts a week, babysitting, selling stuff on Craigslist, cleaning houses, doing everything I could to make my bills, and the Grumpy Cat saved the day.
Oh my gosh. Excellent, excellent. I'm assuming that the litter box has to be of highest quality now and maybe a gold carrot feeding bowl. What are some of the perks Tartar Sauce and Pokey have gotten as a result of Grumpy Cat fame?
Well, we use diamonds as cat litter now.
Of course you do. I heard they're reusable.
Yes. And the servants clean that now.
Yeah, you got 2 and 4-legged service. I'm assuming you probably have a pack of cat-loving, cat-obeying dogs hanging out at her beck and call.
Absolutely. Shaggy's one of her close best doggies.
Who is Shaggy?
Shaggy's in her book. He's called Dog in her book.
Of course, because he doesn't merit a name, right? Just Dog.
No.
So you got to thank your bro, Brian. Things happen sometimes serendipitously, but do you have other brothers and sisters? And what's been the family talk ever since Brian posted on Reddit?
I do have a middle sister named Angela. Became a nurse. I'm very proud of her.
Oh,
and
nice.
Absolutely, I can't thank Brian enough. Not only did he post Grumpy's first picture and make her a celebrity, he also manages the webpage and the business. Definitely can't thank my brother enough.
There's a lot of things going for a person or an animal that's grumpy. We listen to Farrell singing his happy song, and, there was Bobby McFerrin, don't worry, be happy. But I think grumpy's kind of in, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of gives us a way to channel our negative feelings and emotions. We can send those bad thoughts out there with the cat face stuck to it.
So you'll never need a shrink. You'll be fine because you're being able to get some of your frustrations out in a fun way, right?
Absolutely. You
Go
can't
ahead.
change the world. You can't change grumpiness.
Grumpy is here to stay. And folks, after the show, I do want you to dash over to grumpycats.com. That's the official website. And yes, the Facebook page is called The Official Grumpy Cat. I was pawing through the site, and 2 of my favorites stood out, Dashing Through the No and Like a Good Neighbor. Stay over there. So who comes up with these lines? They're classic.
We have a collaborative team that kind of works together for all that, and also the fans. The fans make lots of memes.
So you've been on TV, you've been on Facebook, you've got books, but now you got a movie, Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever. And folks, the voice of Grumpy Cat is the one and only Aubrey Plaza. You guys know her. She's the one with the deadpan humor on Parks and Recreation. She plays April. So what do you think about Aubrey channeling Tartar Sauce as the role of Grumpy Cat in this movie?
She does perfect.
Really? I mean, do you ever watch Parks and Recreation? Is that a show you watch?
I hadn't watched many of the episodes, but I had seen a couple of the first season.
And what do you think about her, the way she does the Grumpy Cat? Is she nice to Grumpy Cat? Is she sucked up to her and all that? Bought her good presents or anything?
She's absolutely sweet.
So tell me what it was like on the set. I mean, how long did it take to get this show done? And I know you're getting excited because it's going to air next week.
It didn't take too long, less than a month, and Grumpy Cat had the finest trailer on the set.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. She had her own private trailer. She was catered to. It was one of the best experiences we've had.
Oh, my God. Well, Dish, girl, Dish. We want to know a little bit. What made it so cool, the trailer?
They had a personal masseuse for Grumpy.
No way. That's my new job. I'm going to quit my job.
They feed you every 3 hours on set, so you're never hungry. There's no biting anyone's head off. I think that's why. They just want to keep your belly full so you don't go freaking out on anybody.
You don't go hangry, as they call it. Hangry, hungry, and angry.
Hangry.
Yeah. Hangry.
Yeah.
Okay. Was the trailer even better than Aubrey's? You can say it, right? Probably.
Yeah, Grumpy Cat was the star, so, I mean, Grumpy Cat had a really nice trailer.
Does your cat travel well? You know, how does she
Absolutely.
travel on planes?
Grumpy's a carry-on.
Okay.
So she gets to go in her little carrier under the seat in front of me.
Right.
And, like, even when we're at home, if I leave Grumpy's carrier open, she's in it.
Really?
You know, she likes laying in it. She's comfortable in it.
That's her
she
safe
travels
zone.
Really, really well.
So she's quiet in 20,000 feet up in the air?
Yes. She's quiet in the air, but in the car, it's the other story. When you're driving in a car, she meows. At least 50% of the time, she's meowing.
You know, that's a weird observation because I have a cat that travels. I teach pet first aid. Casey's not anywhere near as famous as Grumpy. But when I take Casey on an airplane, the mute button is in. The minute I put Casey in the same carrier in the car, it's, are we there yet? Wow, wow.
Right, so and I think part of it might be because they want to be up higher so they can see out the window when they're in the car.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
If I'm not driving, I can take her out and hold her, and she does better. I think she just sits there and watches out the window. So I think that's in the cars, you know, just like anyone would. They want to see where we're going.
When she's traveling with you in the plane, do you ever let anybody know that she's who she is, or do you try to keep it on the download so you don't have the paparazzi at you?
I try not to advertise. It's been getting cold, so I've been wearing a Grumpy Cat beanie. Kind of been giving me away.
Uh-oh.
But the fans are always awesome. I mean, they're understanding. I'm not supposed to take her out on the plane, so usually if I do take her out, they make me put her away. And, I mean, everybody, you know, it's really easy. They get a selfie. They realize that she does exist, and she's smaller than they thought.
Yeah, she is tiny. How tiny is she?
She's 4.5 pounds.
Oh, my goodness. I have a 7-month-old cat who's 9 pounds already. That's 2 Grumpies.
Yeah, Grumpy's little, and that's the first thing everyone says is, oh my gosh, I can't believe how little she is. She's so cute.
Well, most Hollywood stars are petite. You know, they make it. They keep their weight down and things like that, you know. They look bigger than life. Now, does Pokey have any kind of a role in the movie that's airing, Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever?
Not really. He pops up in it in the artistic way, I think, in the beginning. He didn't play a role in the movie. Hopefully next time he'll get to.
Yeah.
He's starting to be a little bit nicer, so maybe I can travel with him. Or maybe they'll have to film, you know, then maybe if they film another one, they'll have to film it here.
Now, by here, you mean you're in Arizona, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were pretty close to Hollywood where it was filmed, but still a little bit away.
Yeah.
So what's up next for Grumpy Cat? Is there another movie in the works, another book? What's happening in 2015 that we can sort of let the Grumpy Cat news out of the bag?
Well, we don't really have anything locked in for next year. We can all definitely hope for a sequel. And like I said, we haven't really locked anything at all in for the new year.
Yeah, what's the plot? I know the title, but tell us a little bit about the plot.
It's about a girl who gets kind of picked on in school, doesn't have very many friends, and she makes a wish for a friend, and she goes into the pet store, and she can hear Grumpy talking to her. And somehow they end up thwarting a robbery. I'll leave the end up in the air. I'm not going to say how
Yeah, don't spill the ending, no, because we want everybody to tune in.
It is a Lifetime movie, so you're probably going to cry.
Will we bring out the tissues, I guess? Oh, no.
Absolutely. It was emotional for me, but maybe I'm just biased.
No,
I
think
and
you're right.
I cry,
Yeah.
and I laugh, and I cry. So I do that in The Lion King. I do that in every movie, you know, any movie I see, you know.
Well, you folks, it is called Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever, and it is premiering at 8 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on Lifetime on November 29th. So I want you guys to all make sure that you do go watch the movie. Of all the celebrities that Grumpy has met, you want to share a couple of good stories that really made an impact on you and Grumpy Cat? Who's been kind of the coolest around Grumpy Cat?
Everyone's been really awesome. I don't know if I could pick any specific favorites right off the top of my head. We did have a really good time with Aubrey, which, I mean, that's going to be a given. We're going to get to have lots of good times.
Yeah. Does she have any cats of her own?
I don't think so.
Okay.
She'll probably get one now if she doesn't.
Yeah. And what about, like, you've been on the Today Show? I mean, is there any kind of funny story or something that would surprise people, what it's like to be on the set of maybe, you were on Ellen, right?
No, we did. We haven't got to do Ellen yet. Hopefully we do sometime. Oh, my
God. Ellen, are you listening? Oh, that's ridiculous. And she's a big pet lover. We got to get you on Ellen, right?
I know. I've really been hoping that we could land an appearance there.
All right. Well, here you go. We're doing it now. We're campaigning for you and Grumpy Cat to get on the Ellen show. How's that?
I promised that I'd take my best friend, Andrea.
Good.
She's crazy about Ellen. So I told her that if I go, she's at least going to the show with me, if not on it.
All right. What about, I guess you were on the Today Show. So do you ever notice that the TV sets seem smaller than what they really look like on TV? You know, the new show sets.
I noticed that. Absolutely. No, everywhere I go, everyone seems smaller than you expect.
Yeah.
One of my favorites was Anderson Cooper because we got to actually walk on. And then we did a late night with Andy Cohen. And that was like our first kind of night show. So that was awesome. Grumpy Cat got to be the bartender. Who would have thought Grumpy Cat can fling drinks?
What's her favorite mixology?
Grumpy's favorite for her to drink is melted snow.
Did she make a mean meow martini for the two-leggers?
Yes, absolutely.
We should get her on Hoda and Kathy Lee's show so that she could pour wine for them. That would be fun, too.
Yes, she definitely wants to cuddle with them, too.
Your life has really changed. Is there anything you can say to people who may end up having a celebrity pet? Any words of advice on how to keep your sanity and be able to still have this wonderful kitty as still your pet?
Well, you can forget about your sanity, first off.
Okay, all right.
Just throw that out the door. Don't try to save your sanity. No sense in that. Obviously, always put your pet first and, get their needs and what they, their comfort first and foremost, especially like when you're traveling and stuff,
Okay.
Make sure you give them plenty of water and don't stop loving all your other pets.
Good point, because you don't want to push aside cool kitties like Pokey, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Hey, folks, we've been speaking with the one and only Tabatha Bundesen. She is the proud pet parent of Tartar Sauce. You know her best as Grumpy Cat. And we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to have the producer of the show, Jeff Morris. And the movie you got to see is Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever. It airs on Lifetime, 8 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, November 29th. Tabby, it was an honor and a delight, and we're going to get you on the Ellen Show and Grumpy Cat. Thank you so much for being a guest on our show.
Thank you so much for having us, and thanks for loving the grump.
All right, we do. Hey, everybody, you know the drill. We're going to sit, purr, and groom. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Time for a pause. 4 furry ones actually sit and stay. Oh, behave. We'll be right back.
Molly, here's your dinner. Zeus, that's not your food.
Don't let that happen to your precious cat. Elevate your cat's eating experience with the Cat Tree Tray. The Cat Tree Tray keeps your cat's food off the floor and conveniently located on the cat tree. It's the perfect way to eat. It's a beautiful wrought iron tray that easily attaches to your cat tree and keeps dogs and other critters out of your cat's dish. A must for multi-pet households. There's a 6-inch tray for large bowls and a 4-inch tray for smaller bowls. Purchase your Cat Tree Tray today. Go right now to cattreetray.com. That's cattreetray.com. CATTREETRAY.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hey everybody, this is Jackson Galaxy from Animal Planet's My Cat from Hell, and I'm here with Arden Moore on the wonderful Oh Behave show on Pet Life Radio. Don't miss it.
We're back from the lot. Just checked the paper and we had a record showing at the box. The letterbox, that is. Now back to Oh Behave. Here's Arden.
Welcome back to the O Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. As promised, our second special guest on today's show, I hope he smiles, is the producer of Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever. Let's give a big pause and applause to the one and only Jeff Morris. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
Thanks for having me.
I bet you never get that kind of an intro, do you?
My kids do that to me all the time, actually.
You have quite a range as a writer, director, and producer. I mean, you've done dramas. You now are dealing with, a grumpy cat. And you've got a couple projects coming up we'll talk about, too. But tell us a little bit about your background. And you don't just do comedies. You do dramas. You write. You produce. You direct. And you are a good daddy to a son who plays hockey and a daughter who plays soccer, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, primarily I'm a writer. That's what sort of pays the bills and is what keeps me really motivated. You know, I've been fortunate enough to be working in the studio system for a while, and it's allowed me to have sort of interesting opportunities, like writing a Grumpy Cat movie.
How did that all come to be? I mean, do you have cats or dogs in your house? Do you just don't like to smile?
Yeah, well, it was actually really kind of an interesting sort of opportunity and how it sort of arose. And basically, as a writer, I'm constantly looking to, work with different directors and things like that. And my manager happens to represent Tim Hill, who directed Grumpy Cat. And Tim and I met, and we hit it off, and we wanted to find a project together. And Lifetime was already a fan of his for obvious reasons and thought he'd be a great fit to direct Grumpy Cat. And Tim and I were looking to do something, and he said, what do you think? Do you think we should write this thing together? And at the time, I was really, really skeptical. It was basically all there was a meme and, these sort of really funny expressions. My natural instinct was, not really. I don't think I really want to do this. But we talked about it, and what we thought would actually be really kind of fun was the fact that this would be the first time a meme would become a movie. And for me, I also really, really wanted to do something that my kids could watch.
There you go.
That they would, that they would enjoy. And to Lifetime's credit, when we talked to them about what we would do, they said yes to everything, and it made it really, really fun to work on.
So set the stage. We don't want to give away the ending or anything, certainly, but set the stage. What is this Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever all about, and how important do you think it is to have somebody like an Aubrey Plaza kind of channeling Grumpy Cat? She does the voice. Everybody knows her from Parks and Rec.
Yeah, well, Aubrey was always the dream. When Tim and I, literally, and I've told her this, and when Tim and I started working on the project, she was the first name we talked about. I mean, we needed someone who had the same sort of attitude as the cat, who could really sort of personify that through the voice. And we also thought, we think Aubrey has a really cool sort of vibe about her, and she could connect with the audience that really understands the meme,
Right.
And, and she was really great. And then with your first question, in terms of the stage, were you asking me like what the movie is? Is that
we're just trying to give the elevator talk on the plot.
Yeah, so basically the idea is that Grumpy is a cat that lives at a pet store, is constantly, overlooked, or she's even been bought and returned a couple of times because of her, her unfortunate, displeasure on her face. She's basically a throwaway, and other animals are constantly bought. And the idea, though, is that there's a little girl out there who is a very sweet little girl, but, she's going through some stuff. Her parents just got divorced. She's living with her mom. She's moved to a new town, and the transition's not going well. And basically the people at the mall where her mom works have become sort of surrogate, sort of a family to her, but she doesn't connect with kids her own age, and she's made fun of by the bratty cool kids and things like that. And basically what happens is she makes a wish by talking to a Santa Claus and makes a wish that someone will just kind of understand her. And what happens is the next person to understand her will become her friend. And that person turns out to be Grumpy. She ends up being able to communicate with Grumpy in a very sort of way that only the two of them can understand each other. And it obviously throws her for a serious loop. And so she goes back to the mall later that night to get to the bottom of why she can suddenly understand the inner voice of a cat. And lo and behold, that's when there's a potential dog napping of a very expensive dog. And the two of them set out to thwart the dog napping, and hijinks ensue.
All right. And thank you. Great great tee up, because now I'm like purring like a cat. I can't wait to see the movie. It is called Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever. It's airing 8 p.m. Eastern Pacific on Lifetime, November 29th. Now, Grumpy's a tiny, tiny little cat. Tartar Sauce, as we found out, is her real name. So is Grumpy on the set all the time? Are there Grumpy likes on there? How were you able to film this and not make Grumpy Cat really grumpy?
Yeah, I mean, Grumpy was there the entire shoot, which is really interesting. And, obviously we wanted to minimize the amount of time Grumpy, was on camera and was working. And so we did everything we could to just sort of say, okay, we need her now just for this amount of time and just try to maximize it. But we also did use a stunt cat for stunt sequences, which is really adorable. And we also had a puppet that were made by the Jim Henson's company.
Oh, nice.
And and those were really great. And we were able to use those in certain times to basically avoid not having to use Grumpy as much as we didn't have to put too much demand on it.
So I'm curious, a stunt cat. I have a big orange tabby named Casey who's only 7 months and weighs 9 pounds already. I'm thinking he probably aspires to be a Hollywood stunt cat. How do you even find a stunt cat? What do stunt cats do? I'm really curious.
Yeah, well, that's full marks to the animal wrangler that we had. And basically, he had a cat that looked a lot like Grumpy from behind. The cat was very well trained, and she would run and jump whenever we needed her to run and jump and do all those things. And and you just shoot it from behind, and it sort of looks like it's Grumpy, and you get away with it.
I love that. I can see on my resume now, stunt cat looks like the butt end of Grumpy Cat. Will work.
Right, exactly. Well, it's like, Tom Cruise doesn't do his own stunts, so we figure Grumpy shouldn't do hers either, right?
No. And about the puppet, this isn't just a little hand puppet. This has got to be some sophisticated design if it's coming from the Jim Henson bunch from the Muppets.
Yeah, it was actually really amazing. We actually had 3 of them. They were you wouldn't believe the cost of the puppets. Like these aren't puppets that, my kids are going to be getting any time for Christmas. These are, these things are thousands and thousands of dollars. And, basically, they have the fur and they look nearly identical, and each puppet had its own purpose. One purpose we could throw when we needed, we needed sort of a stunt of that nature. Another one looked perfect from behind, and, all these sorts of things. They all had a function. And one actually, we could actually move, robotically, which was really kind of neat as well.
Wow. Now, let's talk a little bit about some projects that you have coming up, because I know there's a couple in the works, including you have one possibly that you may direct with Will Ferrell, who's set to star. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, it's actually something I wish I could direct, but it's not something I would direct. But It's something that, I actually sold it with a director, a guy named Steve Pink, who recently directed the Hot Tub Time Machine movies as well as About Last Night. And Steve and I, we write things together occasionally, and we sold this project to TriStar, and Will Ferrell's attached to star in it. And it's a really fun action comedy that we'll be delivering to the studio here in the next week or so if Will wants to go make the movie.
What's the movie called?
It's called The Yank, and it's basically an action crime comedy that takes place in London, in which Will attempts to try to steal the crown jewels.
Oh, nice. Well, you did direct the comedy. You did what? So you seem to have range. I mean, but which is the most challenge, drama, comedy, or working with a cat?
Well, I would probably say working with a cat, but fortunately those opportunities, aren't presented to me on a daily basis. So, but yeah, I mean, the thing I enjoy most is actually writing action comedy. I really like sort of those big, fun canvases to play on. Now,
do you have any four-leggers in your household?
I have a dog. His name is Bolt.
Nice.
He's a rescue, and he's a terrific little guy. He's great.
What's he look like? What do you think? Who your mama? Who your daddy dog? What's his mix?
Yeah, we think he's a shepherd lab sort of mix.
Okay.
And he's a great companion. The kids love him, and he's terrific.
And you spend a lot of time vacuuming, because I have a husky golden retriever. I'm just thinking Chipper and Bolt, they should be pitch pet dogs for top vacuum cleaners, don't you think?
Yeah, well, the best purchase we ever made was one of those iRobots. And
do they really work?
It works great. I mean, we have all hardwood floors on our house, and we just let that thing run all day long because, it should just follow the dog, really,
It could make like cotton candy almost out of the fur you pick up, it looks like.
It's amazing. I don't know where it all comes from, but I see it all over my floor.
And Bolt doesn't bolt after the robot?
Nope, totally used to it, and just goes about his merry way.
All right. Hey, folks, we're speaking with Jeff Morris. He is the producer of the movie you got to watch. It's called Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever. It's premiering on Lifetime at 8 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on November 29th. And I really appreciate you being a guest on our show. Is there anything else you'd like to add that I may have forgotten?
No, first of all, it was my pleasure. Thanks for having me. And secondly, I hope everyone really enjoys the movie. It's really something that, I think all families can really, really watch together and enjoy, because it's one of those types of movies where, we wrote it for families. The kids hopefully will really enjoy it. And it's something I think there's a lot of adult humor, and we really wanted to embrace sort of a viewing experience for everybody.
I think you did it. Well, everybody, this was a great show. We had Tabatha Bundesen on, who was speaking on behalf of Grumpy Cat, and the producer of this movie, Jeff Morris. And I also want to take this time to give a big pause and applause to my producer, Mark Winter. He is executive producer of Pet Life Radio Network. We are 6 million listeners strong on all our shows. And yes, you can tune in to iHeartRadio and check out a lot of our shows. We are there for you in every capacity. If you have a dog, a cat, a gerbil, whatever, if it barks, meows, flies, purrs, or whatever, we are there for you with our shows. So until next time, this is your flea-free host, Arden Moore, delivering just 2 words to all you 2, 3, and 4-leggers out there. Oh, behave.
Coast to coast and around the world, it's Oh Behave with Arden Moore. Find out why cats and dogs do the things they do, and get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get great tail-wagging pet tips and have a fur-flying fun time. Oh Behave with America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore. Every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.